Hey guys, welcome to the Kickback FC. Thank you for joining us once again. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share.
Welcome back to the Kickback FC, your go-to spot for unfiltered, real talk, all things soccer. Here we've got it all. We'll be breaking down the biggest moments, the hottest takes, and everything that you need to stay plugged into the world's game. Whether this is your first time tuning in with us or you've been rocking with us from the jump, I just want to say thank you to all of our friends and supporters. Once again, my name is Cornelius, and I'm here with my boys and fellow co-hosts. Gabriel, how you feeling tonight?
Can't complain, man. It's been been a long day, but definitely excited to yap it up a little bit. Mike, how you feeling?
I'm feeling great, man. It's been a very cold couple of weeks here, so it's nice to see it warming back up again. But can't complain, man. How you doing, Sloan?
Feel good, man. We got a big guest with us today. I'm excited to share his story with you guys. Cornelius, how you feeling?
I'm good. It's midweek, but hopefully the warmth can come here closer to the end of the weekend, warm some things up. I know we got a guest from down south, so let's heat things up. So
All right. Bear with me on the intro. This guy's accomplished a lot, so bear with me. Today's guest on the Kickback FC, we have a former George Mason standout, an 11-year professional, and the all-time minutes leader in the USL Championship. Known for his leadership on and off the field, he served as the inaugural captain for Monterey Bay FC, wearing the armband for 2 seasons. Beyond playing, he's the founder of Backyard Entertainment, a platform he launched while still a professional. He's also been a key voice in player advocacy across the USL. Hugh Roberts, appreciate you pulling up with us, man. Welcome to the Kickback FC.
Fellas, I appreciate you having me. It's a pleasure.
My dog, you grew up in Maryland, man. Just want to learn more about how you got into the game of soccer, because I know you were a hooper as well too.
Yeah, definitely a dual sport athlete. So Pops is Jamaican. Pops actually played soccer at NC State, went to the Final Four against Kobe Jones, Brad Friedland, and them way back. So from as early on as I can remember, I was like his ball boys, chasing him around the track field while he played semi-pro. I think he did this before even MLS was around too. So that started me off early. Then, yeah, I grew up in the Maryland system. I was actually born in New York and Queens. That's where my mom's from. Her side of the family moved down to Maryland when I was about 3 or 4. Really just did MSI soccer. I don't know if y'all know Maryland, just like the rec system in all of my elementary years. And then my dad happened to meet another Jamaican fellow who was a coach for Potomac soccer in the Potomac club. And he was like, yo, come over, come try out. There's a couple of Jamaicans on the team. And Pops was like, all right, cool. Try it out. He was like, his son's mad, Rob. We'll give him opportunity. So, definitely blessed me with that. But I was also fortunate that same club team in middle school turned into the academy, Potomac Academy at high school. So you still had to do trials and stuff, but it was actually a smooth transition kind of for me to just stay on the same club to academy. That kind of, and like y'all said, man, back then it was like Casimir Bays, lost to them always in the state finals. Who else is it? That's now like Baltimore Celtic now today in today's world. PG County had mad teams too. I'm trying to think of that mad team on top of my name. MSC Dragons, so I'm thinking of on top of my head too. They're a big name up there. But yeah, it was mad competitive, man. A lot of them boys, Gyau, Lester Dewey, a lot of my guys were on the national team kind of things too. So yeah, man, from there and then you get recruited and go into a whole process with all that too. But DMV, I would definitely say back then in the time ODP was a big thing. And you made ODP, you go from ODP states to regionals to nationals. That's how a lot of dudes got their breaks. I tried out for ODP, and it's funny, I was actually playing basketball at the time, and it got to the point where, let's say, 7th to junior year of high school, basketball is probably number 1. Even my parents just told me the other day that they thought I was going to go to college for basketball, not soccer. So at the time, ODP, the trials was in December, and I could have cared less, honestly. I was like, Mom, why are you dragging me out of these trials? I just want to play ball. I'm not even trying to try out for this ODP stuff. What is this? I actually went all the way to the very last cut. It was like 6 different cuts. And on the very last day, I ended up not making the team, which is at that time perfectly fine, but I didn't realize how much that plays a role in the system because at that time, I wouldn't say kind of how Joe Gyau made his break, but that's also how you get recognition. Like there's no other ladder to get to the men's national team besides making ODP, regional, national, and then you're on the team. So like I said, at that time, me and my family, we really have the best ball knowledge in terms of the system. So I was like, all right, cool, it's whatever, not big of a deal. I'm going to go play basketball. But just seeing how big of importance that is now in today's world, definitely something I probably would have taken more seriously as a youth too. And I'm sure my parents would have emphasized that as well for me too. But yeah, man, very competitive out there in the DMV.
Yeah, I was going to say, man, you guys were not even considered. You guys were the Region 1. I remember in the youth landscape, and I never got an opportunity to go compete out there. I knew a few people who did, and a lot of the people, when we would come back and talk about, who was all out there, that's all we would hear. A lot of people from DC, Maryland, Virginia. You brought up Gyau, man, and I'm curious because you and I are both in the 92 year. Guys like him, guys like Charles Rankin. Briefly just talk I don't think a lot of people understood how good Gyau was back then. How good was he?
Nah, definitely at that time too. He was already in high school, getting looked at by European clubs too. So he was kind of like the upper echelon to a lot of players that we were looking up to. Man, it was almost like, I'm not even putting it to that point, but just like the Freddie Adu of our class for sure. Definitely Pops groomed him from a very young age. You can see when, Pops grooms you kind of from before elementary, keeps you on a routine, training you each and every off season. Coach Phillip was actually my trainer growing up as well too in high school. That's literally the only trainer I had. So it's so funny, all these kids want trainers now. I really only had one trainer with him my junior year of high school and senior year of high school. Trained for like 2 months, and that was that. But just those couple months that we went through, I'm running hills, doing ladder, doing drills that actually was different from soccer. We didn't even touch a ball, and that's just interesting within itself too. And that's what Gyau comes through, and he saw the biometrics. He's so agile and athletic with that stuff too, man. Yeah, definitely at that time, man. Probably like Freddie Adu because he just came from the era before us, and he's from DMV2 not too long ago. And so Gyau was actually, kind of the next up being online. He did make the national team anyways, but go from national team to Europe and kind of follow the same footprints as Freddie too.
Before I pass it to Mike, I had a 2-part question about hoops. So being a hooper first, how did that background shape you as a soccer player? And if you were to, I guess, compare your game as a hooper, who would you say you kind of played like?
I'm definitely like Victor Oladipo. That's actually my really good friend. He's from DC. We play in the same AAU team too. So if I had to compare, he's 92 just like me. So he had the bounce, but I had the slashing and everything as well too. So if I had to compare my game, it's definitely to my boy. But soccer and basketball goes hand in hand, man. I advise all these kids now. It's sad to see all these coaches. They try to do this to me too when I was younger, telling kids to only play one sport. But you got to play other sports because it unlocks certain things that, one sport athlete doesn't know. And so basketball for me actually started out as a power forward, got moved to a shooting guard. So my early years as a power forward, and I was actually a striker my entire life. I got moved to a center back in college. So I'd actually post up these guys as a striker and just do the same spin moves like I'm doing on the block. I'm getting past these little boys all the time, and like I'm scoring these goals, doing my thing. And then now I'm a center back. I'm battling strikers in front of me on the post, and it's all about swimming and getting to the same position, just like basketball too. And then on the basketball court, moving on the ball, off the ball, constantly cutting, constantly, keeping your eyes on the swivel, watching the slashers, keeping your head up and dribbling. That's why you see Steve Nash and certain dudes, excel so much playing soccer too. And so that's literally also why I realized why I had so much success. I didn't start basketball until middle school even too. I just played in my backyard with some of the homies, probably in elementary. And then finally I found a league that my neighbor told me about, and that kind of transcended my career. And so from there, I picked up basketball just kind of fast. Because, you use your hands every day. You don't really use your feet every day. So just knowing that little nuance, just, being a competitor too, I kind of picked up basketball kind of fast and, kind of took me off to where I am today too. I'll definitely say basketball, and all my 11 years as a pro played a big role in where I am today for sure.
I'm glad you kind of talked about that a little bit because we see a lot of foreign NBA players come into the league and they have very good footwork, and majority of them played soccer. So it's actually very interesting that you played basketball as well. Talk to me a little bit more about high school getting into college. What made George Mason the right fit for you at that stage of your life?
Yeah, it was honestly timing. So I was actually committed to Northeastern first up in Boston. It was really a thing where they were one of the first schools to give me an offer, and that gave me my first official visit. And it kind of put a little pressure on me saying, we want your commitment within the next 2 or 3 weeks. So I gave them a verbal, wasn't a signed commitment. Also at that time, I was getting looked up by Providence, and Providence was actually one of my top schools in Rhode Island because they had a black coach, and the black coach told me he favored me very well, went to their camp, everything too. Didn't hear from them, but come to find out he got fired at the end of that season too. So that kind of ghosted me for a reason, but then I went to Northeastern. And then honestly, George Mason though, which was cool, they actually started coming to my high school soccer games, actually started coming to my club games and started making it real personal for me. And then invited me to do my official visit. And it just so happened George Mason beat Maryland. Maryland was top 5 in the country, and Mason, who was 19, beat Maryland at Mason on my official visit, and it was just lit 45 minutes from my crib back at home. So and I knew some of these boys. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm decommitting. This is it. Yeah, that official visit was love. Mason was love at the time. Like I said, they're top 22. I knew some of the boys, and we're actually the 13th ranked recruiting class freshman-wise going into it too. So I know it's gonna be a top environment too at the time. So yeah, that kind of steered my decision for Mason. And then just basketball and soccer being 6'4" is different than basketball being 6'4" in soccer. I was that guy in high school that also brought my basketball friends to soccer games. So I was also like, I want to, create my own path too. Everyone plays basketball, in our culture heavy. Let me be like this different black dude and pave my own path, but bring my ballers, my football. I went to high school with Stephon Diggs and Jelani Jenkins and them too. So like I used to give Stephon Diggs ride home kind of thing too. So I'd bring my boys, bring all of them to soccer games, and they'd be like, yo, like this is lit. I was like the soccer dude on the basketball team too. So I was like, you know what? Let me kind of forge my own path, show these dudes that soccer is just as cool too. So it's funny how things are kind of transitioning right now.
So wait, did you play soccer all 4 years of high school?
Yeah, so I did soccer as well too on the side. We actually did very well. Malcolm Harris played with me, who plays for he's a coach of Baltimore Southern or Maryland Premier or something like that. But he was a big time recruit at the time. But Good Counsel soccer was nothing. That's why I went there for basketball, not soccer. I got recruited to go there for basketball. So I was like, let me still do soccer because I love soccer, period. And it was literally like, the Big Green movie back in the day that when we were youths, bro, like that. Then it was so bad. I can't even describe it to you. On my freshman year, we were running around in like a dirt patch. And the coach Julio Zarate was making us run all the time because we sucked so bad. But then after year, as I got to my senior year, we finally finished in second place in WCAC, even beat the Mad Thug and Zaga and them boys too. Like it was hype. And then now they're winning championships all of a sudden too. So I'll say I walk so they can run kind of thing too. But yeah, man, definitely steer my decision on all that.
So now looking back at your, decisions go to George Mason, how important was it in your college experience preparing you for a long professional career?
Yeah, I would say one of the biggest things that kind of changed my time at Mason and my whole career is my freshman year. I was very frustrated. I didn't really play too much. I didn't play all the way until my debut was around my birthday, end of September. And I remember crying to my parents, being like, I made the wrong decision. I should have played basketball. I should have never gone to college for soccer. Like I was very upset and miserable. My parents were like, I understand, Hugh. I know you're frustrated, but I need you to stay in this the long run and stay committed to this. And you're not transferring, you're staying here. And I'm so grateful because that from the rest of my life, I'm such a committed person, and I'm gonna see this through because of that one moment. I.e., fast forward, we ended up winning the A10 championship my senior year, go to the NCAA tournament, win the second, or go all the way to the second round. I didn't get drafted or anything, but I was 99 out of 100 on the MLS draft board, which was hype for me too. And got a little name enough to go to a couple of USL clubs to waive certain tryout fees because they knew me in college too. So, definitely thankful for that time because as I got through my professional ranks, I really stuck through some very, very tough times where I wanted to just, get loaned out or transfer clubs and was so unhappy. But because I never forgot that moment in college, I was like, you know what? Let me just stick through it. I'm going to be a better man at this at the end of the day. Let's just go. Let's be determined. I'm not a quitter. And it looks better on you sticking through them tough times, I realized, and quitting on a team as well, too. You don't want to bounce to different organizations and be like that guy who quits on everybody, So everything worked out. And that moment kind of transformed my whole life and trajectory.
So for young players today, way in college versus going pro, I mean, obviously, during your time, there weren't as many avenues as there are today. What factors do you think matters the most in making that decision to either go college route or professional route?
Yeah, it's a good question. Social media has really changed everything for a lot of college kids as well, too. You don't necessarily have to go to the biggest college anymore, too, which is good to see. I will say, if I'm a young kid in high school, if the first team is talking to you and they're telling you their trajectory and they see you to make the first team, go ahead and take your chance in the leap as well. Or if you have some European clubs that are interested in high school, take the leap. Is ultimately playing, 11 to 12 months of ball all year round as a professional. We don't even get that in America. This is why Europeans are so much ahead of us, even in, Colombia, South America, so they play ball all day, every day. We only do it during college season for August to November if you make NCAA tournament, and then you're done. Spring season, you don't even touch a ball. The youths nowadays only play for 3 or 4 months in their season and have some time off, So you got to really touch the ball all year round. And so I'm not saying only really, but like really only when you have some first team calibers. When I say that's because I kind of had to learn the hard way when I took my leap of faith from Richmond to Philly. I went to the Union for the first time. My whole thing was MLS. And, they kind of forced me to sign a second team contract, which was cool at the time, but I didn't understand the business of the game until that time. And because I wasn't necessarily on the first team's radar, I was there and they were going to give me my opportunity. But I was really a roster fill at the time because we have Mark McKenzie, Austin Trusty, guys on the national team right now. Those are my young boys that I grew up with at the time. So Ernie Stewart wanted those boys to play all the time. Doesn't matter how bad they did in the first team, how good I was doing too. So because I wasn't necessarily on Ernie Stewart, sporting director's radar for the first team, your role is a little different. So that's why I say at the first team in the organization on MLS or whoever top European clubs telling you they favor you and they see you making the team eventually in a couple of years, go ahead and take that leap. Otherwise, college is not a bad route at all because, like I said, social media is changing everything. Like you have Patrick Adjumon right now, Charlotte FC, who's playing overseas in the championship right now. Literally came from a D3 school as a striker, transferred a couple of schools, but, he made it out. And I advise everybody, make your mixtapes, your highlight tapes, put some good clips together because the transfer portal is going crazy right now. NIL money is going crazy, even in soccer too. I just saw a couple of deals for like 30, 40K real salary money that people don't even make in today's world, So, yeah, because of that, it's changed everything. College is not a bad route at all, and I would actually advise it too because you can be on track to get your degree. And, with just this world nowadays too, man, I probably wouldn't even be in this corporate side if I didn't even get my degrees and my MBA as well too. So those little things definitely matter.
All right. That's very it's a lot of good insight. You obviously you're coming from a college background, but you did get that chance to go pro. You played in the USL for 11 seasons. You actually become the player with the most minutes played in league history at one point. So congrats for that. That's a huge milestone. What did that mean to you personally? When you look back and you are that guy that logged all those minutes.
It's interesting you bring that up because at that time when they announced it was actually around my birthday in Monterey, but I was in such a funk mentally and so determined and focused that I really just shrugged my shoulders at the time. I'm not saying it was something where it wasn't that big of a deal, but I really saw the article, read it, got a couple of congratulations. It was cool. It's my focus was on the game, practice. I got to get my boys right as a captain. We can get into the nitty gritty sometimes too, but Monterey was definitely a life-changing moment in so many different ways that in their inaugural years or just starting off as a club. So I really did a lot on and off the field. So a lot of my focus wasn't even on myself at all. So it really took until I really took a step back and transitioned to the corporate world. And, you have to come to peace with a lot of things. And I came to peace and reflected. And I was like, man, you really did something that maybe 1% of players ever do. You really did something that I'm so proud of myself for doing kind of thing too. But it wasn't until a couple years later, literally last year, 2 years after that happened, that I really had to talk to myself and reflect and be at peace because I was not at peace at that time when that moment happened too. And, those little things matter at that time too.
That's actually interesting to hear because you often hear, athletes, whenever they get to a milestone, they never really get to sit in it, because sports move fast, especially football. We says it moves fast all the time. And it's funny you bring up Monterey because that actually segues me into my next question. You serve as the inaugural captain at Monterey Bay FC. How did you approach leadership, when you got there to the club, and what was your style when you were trying to build the culture from day one?
Yeah, Monterey was very interesting. It's a big Hispanic culture. It's actually one of the first times where I actually felt like a real pro. And I say that because only 20,000 people population-wise. I'm a black guy, one of the few black guys in an all-Hispanic town, dreadlocks, everything too. I couldn't go anywhere, not even trying to be that dude, but without guys in the car stopping me, even bringing my wife now when she visited me in Monterey, at restaurants that giving me discounts, captain this, captain that. I used to ride my bike to practice. They waved me while they're riding by. Captain, we can't wait to see you. And all these little things, that was the first very cool experience. I really felt like a little European player to the point where I had to keep my head low or stay inside because fans would call me after the game yo, I saw you at your crib. You live on this street. And now I'm like, bro, what? Let me put my hood up and hey, I'm not coming out my house no more. So those little things happen too. But Monterey, put a little bit of onus on me. I went to a lot of corporate events, and this is in California. Monterey is a pretty affluent area as well too. I had to speak to a lot of sponsors. We didn't have lunch after trainings. We didn't have a car sponsor. A lot of us, I'm from the East Coast moving to the West. So I'm meeting Hertz. I'm going around Monterey all the time, meeting with a couple lunch companies to provide us lunch as sponsors, and they're using me because I'm the captain of the team as like, that figure to actually get them some money. And now that I see it now, it's all a business, but I'm going to these corporate deals, especially that inaugural year, trying to set a lot of meetings. So like a lot of my time wasn't really just ball. And then when it came to the ball aspect, I actually didn't know I was going to be captain until after like the first preseason game, they give the captain for the game. And I thought, okay, I got the first captain for the first preseason game. They're probably going to give it to somebody else. And like, nah, they're rock with me the whole time. So I was like, all right, bet. Who I am, I'm a personal kind of guy. So I went to every single guy on my team. They know me to a T and make a relationship with every single guy. So whenever someone's down, I can just go up to them, yo, bro, talk to me. What's going on? I was really that captain. And actually, Frank, who was the head coach, that was the closest coach I've ever been a part of probably in my entire life, even like some of my black coaches too. And I say that because like this was the first coach that like took me to, and yeah, sure, I was a captain, but like it really didn't really have to do it as a captain. It's probably just who I am as a human being. And I mean that because like probably 2 times a week, I'm sitting in this man's office one-on-one. If the team's practicing and having a warm-up or practice session, he's like, yo, Hugh, come over here. And it's just me and this man as if I'm an assistant coach, just standing beside him on the sideline. Say, yo, this is the game plan. Yo, here are the subs. What you think about this? We go into our locker room. He showed me the whole whiteboard. You know what, Hugh? All these guys don't have experience. You tell me who you want to start this game. And I'm like, yo, Frank, like we should do this in practice. He's like, oh, all right, cool, I got you. Then he like listens to me, and the training session was exactly what I told him to do. And I'm like, yo, Frank, like it's all right to make us go harder and run harder in practice, man. Like, come on, raise the intensity. All right, cool, I got you. Or like, what? Just little things like that, Like I didn't really, especially in the professional world, you really don't get that. And so knowing that knowledge, I actually took that to some of my players and like, yo, like I got y'all need any issue, just holler at me. I go talk to Frank kind of thing too. So I was really like that bridge from a lot of my players, and I made sure they all felt welcome no matter how young, old, and experienced. A lot of those guys are inexperienced as well too. And I really felt like, I was like that big bro for a lot of them boys. And a lot of events happened in Monterey, like racial moments, dudes getting in trouble on the team too. So, I had to represent those players in a lot of different ways too.
Something you said kind of stuck out to me, and this is a little bit, off the cuff, but was this your first time in that sort of liaison role as, the bridge between corporate and, athletics? And then with that, did it kind of spur your interest in becoming more on that business side, that more advocacy side? Because obviously, we'll get into what you've done after your playing career, but, you being a captain and you even telling us, like, I had no idea that captains were, doing all of this outside of just the game, So was this your first time in that kind of leadership role?
Definitely my first time in that leadership role, for sure. I will say right a year before I went to Monterey, when we just founded the United Black Players Association in 2020, going in 2 years before Monterey, that's the whole moment that the corporate side of myself, and so my MO, literally why I started Backyard Entertainment, first it was BackYardFooty because I wanted to be more than just an athlete. One thing I couldn't stand, and I know it's just me, but I go home for the holidays and everyone's, yo, you're a pro, and I know I'm a pro, but the conversation switched like this too, where they can only talk to me so far because nobody else is really a pro besides myself. And so the rest of the guys who are corporate only talk to corporate people, and that's something I didn't really like, was being excluded out of the conversations because I'm just as knowledgeable. I know the corporate side and I'm an athlete, but y'all are not, give me that respect because I'm only an athlete. So it's like, you know what? I need to do, not even just because, I was also watching Sports Center 2017, they're showing cornhole, all this random stuff on ESPN. I'm like, these boys never talk about soccer. I was like, let me do something cheap and inexpensive. And that's when my podcast started as well, too. So all those things transpired. This started in 2017. I didn't even imagine forming the United Black Players Association. That was just George Floyd moment happened. Me and my teammate were like, yo, after my podcast, I had 2 episodes, invited 15 to 20 black players from the MLS and USL. And that's the beauty of having your own podcast, right? You can do whatever you want in terms of conversation. So after 2 of those, they're like, me and my team were like, you know what? George Floyd happened, NBA shut down, NFL shut down. We got to shut down and we got to create a United Black Players. We formed it in 3 days. After those 3 days transpired, that's like really the corporate side of myself. I'm, in talks with the president and the vice president, forming the United Black Players literally in 3 days. But we were in talk with them, the front office, for 5 months, the rest of the entire year, probably from June until November kind of thing. And then I wouldn't say something like I was pushing. It's just literally life as well, too. So then I was part of the anti-racist club after that in 2021. USL invites the whole anti-racist club down to the USL Winners Summit. And so me, Brandon Miller, Bilal Saheed, we're now speaking in front of 150 to 200 USL coaches, and I'm representing the USL from an anti-racist club standpoint, but they all knew I was a player, so I'm all speaking on behalf of them, and then they're actually listening to me too. And so, boom, 2022 happens, and I'm on Monterey now, and so now it just doubled and tripled now in terms of work and being a liaison on and off the field. I mean, I'm not getting you train at 8 o'clock in the morning, done at like 12 or 1 o'clock, and I'm still not getting home till 6, 7 o'clock because I got to go to all these events and represent, the club and the player aspect too. And so I wanted to be corporate, and so all these things honestly transpired. Actually, the USL's partnered with Bellevue University to give out 1 free full scholarship. I was blessed to get that, and that's what gave me my MBA towards the end of my career. And so again, those mindsets was already thinking that on that pathway, and then my life kind of transpired that way too. And then I would say to this day, that's what helped me get this role and everything as well too. Definitely.
That's what's up, man. That's super cool that you just had that experience, especially while in Monterey. A new club, you get the captaincy, and it spurred your interest in more than just being an athlete, like LeBron would say. But my last question about your playing career, 2016, you get a little honor in the USL. You're on the All-League Team. What did that mean to you? You were part of the Richmond Kickers at that time, and when you look back, how did you feel going into that year, 2016?
So we can start going into that year. Going into that year, it was actually like a tough conversation with me and my coach, who's the general manager of Richmond now. He just kept it honest with me after my second year. I did start probably close to 20 games. It was all right. We lost the first round of playoffs. He's like, Hugh, you're just okay. We need you to raise your level. And honestly, it was like a good man-to-man conversation. I was like, listen, my guy, he's like a yeller in practice, love to yell and tell you what to do. I'm like, listen, my man, I'm coming from the basketball world. What you're doing in this practice does not bother me at all. I need you to respect me as a man, and I promise I'll go harder for you. And like, if you can respect me, I respect you, and we'll be cool. He didn't say a word to me the entire third year when I made first team. Richmond was also partnered with DC United at the time. DC United would send 8 to 9 players, no matter how good you're training, because they wanted their guys to get some time and minutes. So I'm always on the bench my first 2 years because Jalen Robinson, some other guys are coming down. Third year, wasn't even, and DC was still coming down, wasn't even a question. Hughes starting, Hughes playing, and I really think it had to do with that conversation. And so, we went on like a 20-plus game win streak. Like, I'm 23 years old, man. I'm definitely feeling like him for a little bit. I ain't gonna lie. I made first team All-League. DC United invited me to their trainings as well, too. So, like, that was a really dope moment in my life, too, and something, that really showed me, because, mind you, I was a striker just 4 years before. The striker my whole life. Junior year, they moved me to center back. Now, junior, senior year of college, then I turned pro. I didn't know anything. And so it just, it was a testament to my own work, because my first year in Richmond was a hard struggle for me, because like I said, I knew nothing about the game. I knew nothing about 1-2 touch. I was a striker, so I didn't even know how to play between the lines. I didn't even know how to keep possession, to be honest, because at Mason, we just kicked the ball. Man, that was very tough for me. I ain't going to lie. And I was the only one out of my college years that turned pro, so none of my boys really talked to me or like understood what I was going through, so I really internalized a lot of stuff. So I really just watched film, studied, and like, so the fact that I made it 3 years later was just like, all right, cool, Hugh, like, your hard work's paying off. The work that you put in is really on the right track, kind of thing too. And so, yeah, I was definitely proud in that moment too. Definitely.
That's amazing, bro.
Sorry, Gabriel. I had a question real quick. This just came to me, but can you expand on like how difficult that is to switch positions, especially where you were in your career? I mean, because you're walking into college and you're probably facing attackers who have probably played attackers their whole life. Can you just expand on that real quick?
No, like you said, it's like relearning or having to learn a whole new trait and a whole new trick. Like strikers, wingers, take as many touches as you want, step overs, do this and that, 1-2 touches, like if you turn the ball over, not that big of a deal until you make a magical moment happen. You could lose the ball 10 times, magic moment happen, you score a goal. Who cares about what happened? Center backs, 1-2 touches only, 1 touch is if you're better. Long ball took me years to get down because I never knew how to kick a long ball. That was never taught to do any of that. And Mason, we just kicked the ball. And so like, it was just clearance kind of thing. And so, man, that long ball thing took time. I ain't gonna lie to y'all but I had to take time as a pro. How I got better as a pro was spending time before and after training extra for like an hour or two. That's really the way I got better. It wasn't really training alone. I had to put in the work after and before training. But, learning and switching positions was like literally having to forget one thing out your mind and then relearn something else. I would say that's more in the technical aspect, but in terms of the athletic aspect and reading the game, actually my success was probably because I played a striker my entire life as a center back. I could read all the cues from the midfield and the center backs and the strikers because I was behind the striker now. So every time he would check in and have the cue, I already knew the cue because I was a striker my entire life. I'm jumping, I'm reading, I'm slide tackling, I'm just as fast and athletic too. So I would definitely say being a striker helped me for sure, but I had to just on the technical side forget everything I knew as a striker and learn in a different realm.
Yeah, I could, man, even me playing right now, I can only imagine playing center back. Because like even when I'm playing now, like there'll be moments, it's indoors a little bit different, but even like when I'm playing, 11s, like there'll be moments where, sometimes I do drop deep, like, sometimes I do drop in the midfield or I'll drop in just in a defensive role. And even being back there is just, you just feel different. It's like, man, I'm not even supposed to be back here. Like, just, the touches are different. The flow of the game is completely different back there as well. So big kudos to you. I like you said, I don't think people really understand how tough it is to go from, it's easier to go from a D mid to a center back, or a D mid to a left back or something like that. But to go from a striker, someone who's trying to score goals, to someone who's now trying to prevent a goal is, I don't want to say it's as drastic as playing keeper, but I mean that's the next next biggest jump. You know what I mean? So huge kudos to you on that front. But kind of just wanted to, as you've spoken, just within this 30 minutes, you kind of stole my first question, because my first question I wanted to ask you was really, where did your passion for advocacy like really come from? But from this whole 30 minutes, from leader at Monterey Bay to, things happening off the pitch, in the world and also in your city, to, you meeting with foundations and charities and sponsors and things of that sort. I feel like, all of those things combined, all of that experience really just all came together to really lead your advocacy career and what you're doing, post football. I kind of just want to really just start there. What I know those things led to you and your advocacy, but what really drove you to bring that same football mentality and that same drive to that, to the corporate side of football, to the politics of football, in a sense? What keeps you and what really, drove that?
It's a good question. I'll be very honest with you. I don't really tell a lot of people this, but it's really deeper than all that. And so it's funny how life just transpires. And if you have something in your heart, kind of life, sets its course for you. So honestly, I can tell y'all it goes back to when I was like 3 or 4 years old. Dad being Jamaican, he came from like the bush in Jamaica. It wasn't a rich area. It was really just like in, the forest kind of thing in Jamaica, no electricity kind of thing. Mother's coming from Queens, New York, in the projects, and she's the only one out of 8 to make it out. And you know how Queens is in New York too. And so I was actually born in Queens, stayed with my aunts and them until I was 3 years old. And so I grew up around that too. And I went to New York every single summer. So very, very young, I saw the disparities. I saw my parents having to give my parents money. I saw, I'm taking a shower and I'm in elementary and a cockroach falls out my hair kind of thing too. I didn't really tell my family just because I love my family. I couldn't care less, but I was like, oh, wow, like I'm in a different environment. We go to Jamaica. My family's struggling out in Jamaica. My dad is the only one to make it out of the area. And so he's like, I wouldn't say like a messiah, but like he's really on that level. Every time he goes back home now, it's like, oh my gosh, Hugh's in town, and like the whole village flocks. And so I saw that very young. So my whole mission literally since I was young was like, I got to help my family the same way my parents are helping my family out. And so as I got older, though, things, I wouldn't say changed, just like added on. And so I got into the soccer world. Probably because I played basketball, right? I'm playing basketball in the inner streets of DC, Southeast DC, and Laurel and PG County, and like I'm in an all-black environment. Then I go to play soccer. I'm with these all-white boys, and I'm like, where are my black people at in soccer? You know what I mean? And then I get older. That black Jamaican coach I told you about got fired. They fired him, 2 years later because they wanted to bring some white Georgetown. And don't get me wrong, he was all right, had some pedigree, but he couldn't connect with us like the Jamaican coach could. But they didn't care. They just wanted some name and some guy here. And so for the first time, I saw a lot of my Hispanic and black, and me a little bit, but mostly my Hispanic and black friends on my high school team and academy system get ostracized, put on the bench because they're having attitudes, but not realizing they have an attitude because, they didn't have a right to practice because their dad's working such a job. And because of that job, they couldn't make the practice. They couldn't make the practice on time. Now you're benching him. Now he can't get looked at from college coaches at a big showcase game. So I was frustrated in high school, and I saw that very early. And then I'm playing basketball in all black environments, and like it was love and the complete opposite. And so as I turned pro, and I got to Mason, a little bit less black people. I get to turn pro now, and barely any Black Americans. There's Black Caribbeans, there's Africans, there's other Europeans, but Black Americans is very different in this country than a foreign Black player. And so, when I say that is, now I'm going to Richmond, and in Richmond you have to go around, and in every club you got to go to like camps, and you got to go to appearances and events. So I'm going to different events and appearances, and I'm pulling up. Every Black kid, Hispanic kid is running up to me like, oh my gosh, we didn't know Black Americans play soccer. Oh my gosh, like I'll come to your games and see you. I'm like, damn, I'm 22 years old. Like, oh my, damn, I didn't realize that. Like, I just thought everyone does this. So I'm like, oh, all right, cool. Like now I got to do this for my youngins, like in the different cities, living in Philly. I'm bringing out I got some family members in Philly. I'm bringing my family members out. I'm also telling them to bring their homies, bring their inner city kids. Like, I need y'all to see this in person and realize like there's Black people playing the sport too. So it all just compiled as I got older, and that's what I'm saying. Like my life was to help my family, and then things just transpired. Like I literally just started a podcast, and it was not my goal to start the United Black Players of the USL, but George Floyd happened. Boom, that moment happened. Big moment in Monterey happens where the first ever big racial moment happens in USL. And what's the odds? The captain of the team, the co-founder of United Black Players of the USL, is now in Monterey when the first ever racist moment happens, and I'm leading this whole charge, and we do a first ever stand up against racist moment as a club against the USL moment happened. So all these moments are just life kind of falling into its place. And then, I'm rising up to the occasion kind of thing. But my whole life mission was to always help my family. But then it just became to help my Black people, period, kind of thing. And then, on the corporate side too, I'll be honest, like, yeah, I got my MBA, but I didn't have a job for 10 months last year. So it was a very tough time having to provide for my family, roof over my head. She's pregnant at the time too. And I didn't know what I was going to do, And so I'm just applying to jobs like crazy. I'm not saying I had a connection at the foundation. I didn't have any of that. I just woke up one day and then they hit me up and said, yo, we'd love to interview. And that's literally how that happened. And then it took me 2 months to go through the interview process. And from July till October, I finally got the role. Such a blessing to be a part of a foundation that's doing the same mission to help under-resourced communities. And I'll definitely say another thing that, God, things just in life aligning with you and your mission. Because I applied to plenty of jobs, even Bleach Report. I was actually probably going to go to Bleach Report as well, too. And just some things transpired where it didn't work out. But literally, foundation was who I am to a T. And it just felt so good, even to link with y'all at the convention, to be able to be, a Black person. Because again, I'll be honest with y'all, there's no Black people at the foundation either. Besides the CEO, I'm the only Black male in the whole organization. There's Black females, but I'm the only Black male. So I'm like, all right, bet. Like, I really got to represent myself at a high level, but I'm also trying to help my people now, especially my Black people on the corporate side, and give y'all free resources, take advantage of whatever the foundation is giving you. Use me as that branch, and let's up it all for everybody, kind of thing too. So, life just, when you have some things in your heart, kind of transpires and falls into this place too.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, I could. There's just so much to unpack, if I'm being completely honest. It's truly inspiring, and it kind of leads me kind of into my next question, because as you said, that's what sparked all the inspiration and you wanted to be an advocate. But it takes a different type of person to create their own and to move forward in their own light. There are a lot of, and there's no disrespect to the people that join organizations that help, but to create your own organization, where did and I know you touched on it briefly, but what kind of was, I understand that George Floyd was going around, but not going around, but George Floyd happened, and a lot of things were heavy on your heart, but what truly sparked you to say, like, I need to take this into my own hands instead of going and joining another organization? I need to start my own. What kind of were the driving points that led you to start yourself?
Yeah, I would definitely say the Ahmaud Arbery killing definitely sparked a lot for me. I'm not from the South. I'm living here in Charlotte, North Carolina. I probably just moved there a year ago, and I'm staying with my wife. She was my girlfriend at the time, and she lived in South Carolina. I'm in North Carolina, so I'm running through, the country. You feel me? And like, the fact that my man was jogging, and I'm literally having to jog through COVID as a team because we gotta stay in shape. So I'm running through these neighborhoods doing the same thing my man was doing, and I was like, damn. That could have been me, you know what I mean? And then this videographer hit me up, and he's like, yo, Hugh, like, you want to do a video about it? And I was like, you know what? Yeah, this is time. And so I think it's still on my IG now. But that's what the Ahmaud Arbery video came from, because after the killing, and thankfully the videographer hit me up because, I wanted to do something, but I didn't really know what to do, but those stars align. And then from there, I'm like, I got my own podcast. I ain't doing the simple stories one-on-one. Why not have a bunch of my homies hop on this show and actually talk about the struggles? And that's the beauty of having your own stuff. So that's what I did. And then after the first one, all the dudes were like, Hugh, we got to have another one. This was amazing. Had this second one, and I would definitely say I'm so glad, I did that, because probably to this day, one of the most impactful moments happened. So Fatai Alashi, FC Cincinnati player at the time, hopped on my podcast. We're talking on the second episode, and he shared that, every organization, FC Cincinnati themselves too, put out a race, United Against Racism post. We standing with all our players, yada yada. Fatai's like, here I am getting monkey DMs and racial DMs still to this day from FC Cincinnati fans. FC Cincinnati, here's the podcast, donates $250,000 to local communities and under-resourced organizations because of my podcast show. And I was like, what? I'm literally just having a conversation with my dudes. Wow. And, you never know how things can transpire. And so some of those things align. And after that second one, me and the homie Brandon Miller, we were like, listen, Hugh, we got to do this, man. Like, all right, cool. Took us 3 days. We're on the phone with USL for 12 hours at a time each day because we want to get – how are we going to stop on national broadcast? What are we going to save during the speech for the announcers? What's this? What's this? And create a logo. All them things happened in 3 days, from a Wednesday to the first game was on a Saturday. So, yeah, man, those things sparked that.
Wow. That's shout out FC Cincinnati, man. That's a huge commitment that they made. And just from, like you said, just from conversation, and that's the power of conversation. This is why we're here today. The power of community and conversation, and bringing issues to light that aren't necessarily brought to light on the major stage. That's amazing to hear and beautiful to hear. And I'm glad that you and Brandon took that initiative upon yourselves and really started that association. It's amazing. It's amazing.
And same here, definitely too. Sorry to even cut you off too. Because those little things, a DEI role got founded at the USL HQ. Unfortunately, because of this presidency, they got rid of the role this year. But literally for the last 4 years, we had Chris Boosie in the office because of the group and the initiatives that we did as well too. So we founded the United Against Racism campaign with the USL too, and all those little moments transpired because of that group. So I definitely agree. And there's still been racist moments to this day. Hartford and Pittsburgh just had a racial moment last year too, and I'm telling these guys these things matter and it's important as well too.
Yeah, absolutely. When all of these things transpired, and you started the United Against Racism in the USL as well, and very, very involved with that. Did your board role were these things transpire because of all of the everything that happened prior? The Black Players Association, you being kind of the spokesperson in these spaces. Is that how the role kind of transpired, or just kind of walk me through your board appointmentship?
Yeah, so I mean, honestly, every USL club, there's always team reps. Every club has 2 team reps. I was always a team rep for my team, probably starting in Philly. So for at least 7 years, I was the representative for the union. Every team has a bridge. And then after, probably as I got older, more experienced throughout my career, maybe because United Black players, I wouldn't say because of that to a T, because I know Connor Tomba very well. They also wanted some more representation for sure on the board, but I also wanted to be on the board to represent too, and definitely make change on the corporate side too. Those things went hand in hand, and you have to get voted in everything as well too. But definitely the players in the USL voted me into the board, and then I've been fortunate to still be on the board. Shout out to them as well too. They're kind of using my experience right now. It's a big negotiations going on right now with the CBA. The CBA has been done since January 1st. And the league and the board's been in tension for a while now, and so some serious stuff might happen soon. I can't really say anything, but using my experience a little bit too, even though I'm transitioned, to still be a part of the board and help these players out too. And it's been a very important moment for the group right now.
Yeah, absolutely. I know. We spoke offline a little bit about the USL and how there's not, an agreement on the CBA currently. I know you can't, as a board member, you can't, speak too much on that, but that's just, a part of your role. Kind of just take me a little bit deeper into some of the other, issues and things that you deal with and handle as, a board member of the USL.
Yeah, so I'll say, obviously, president, vice president, CEO, and them kind of roles too. I would say I'm more in like the board member role. So, and I'm like the bridge. Also, I reach out to all the League One Championship players. We also do check-ins as well to make sure things are good. I'm also on the United Black Players Association too. So I'm also like a part of the group where like black players are struggling. Racial moment happened last year. They're calling me. I'm supporting them, make sure they're good, putting pressure a little bit on the USL. So I kind of go back and forth, and thankfully I have a good relationship with Connor Tobin, who's the head of it all. He understands just the need of the situations and the importance of our roles too. So right now it's definitely more of a liaison, but before it was like, we have weekly calls every Monday, but you're also making sure each and every locker room's on top of their duties, reporting, staying intact with like some of the reporting that we need them to do survey-wise and those kind of things too. So now it's more so I'm like a branch off the board, and of course I'm on the board, but using my experience right now for these negotiations, and I'm sure at some point this year I'll probably step down.
You're a big player in the USL, man. As a player, I mean, to log the most minutes, and then you're creating these platforms, the Black Players Association. I think that's a testament to who you are. The more that we have this conversation, I'm learning a lot more about you that I felt like I didn't know before, and to have someone like you speak up for us, because I remember that time when the George Floyd happened, Ahmaud Arbery happened, relatively around the same time. And it just, I don't know, man, it was a tough time to be a Black person here in the United States. And I felt like, at least from the soccer side here in the US, I think, you guys, the MLS, did a great job of, speaking up for us. And, I just wanted to say we appreciate the work that you're doing and you continue to do.
Appreciate that, my man.
I have a quick question before Salam asks his next question. I can't help but wonder, I mean, you have a lot of tough conversations, right? You don't necessarily have to share into details some of these conversations, but kind of take us behind the curtain a little bit into like your role when you're called upon by a player who feels like they've been racially abused or discriminated against or whatever. Like, how are these conversations going?
Yeah, so first and foremost, I always support him no matter right or wrong, because it's always something where we hear something. There's always some hearsay thing. That's why we did the racial moment at Monterey, because I told the locker room it's always under the rug when it comes to racial moments. They always say hearsay. They always say they don't have enough equipment. They can't hear anything. So, most recent example was last year, as I said, something happened between Pittsburgh and Hartford. I immediately called the player, had one of their captains actually called me first, gave me the Black players' information and phone number. I call him immediately first, because it's more important that we call them than him call us, because we need to be on the forefront, not him, reaching out to us in dire need. So I show him immediately I'm in support of him. I give all our contact information for the board, let him know that we're going to be discussing with the Players Union, because Players Union is definitely, just a bigger union. They're nationwide, so we use them as well to be the bridge with the USL headquarters themselves. Let Connor know immediately. He's already, well known. I'm pretty much on the calls with the USL, listening to them and their negotiation, their discussions. That's where Chris Boozy came in, because he was actually at the headquarters, and Chris Boozy was so important because, I'll just give you another example. One time there was two Black players calling each other the N-word in practice, and the coach overheard it, and he was about to suspend both Black players because he thought they're, doing racial slurs. And Chris is like, yo, like, y'all got to understand dialect between Black people. He's just literally calling him my brother, and it's not that serious of a situation. Black players was cool, nothing happened to them. But because you don't have a voice at the headquarters, these things happen as well too. So now here we are, not having a voice at the headquarters. Yes, I'm here representing the players and from the USL Black Players Association standpoint, but you also need an ear there. So of course I voice my opinion, voice the players side for him as well too. Tell him, after hearing what he told me in the phone call, tell him exactly what he told me. I also tell them this is not something that we just hear out the wind. They think the player will say, oh, I said everything but the N-word. The Black player will say he said everything and the N-word. So it's like, what, we just came out with this out of the blue? Like, come on, like, we're not just hearing whispers of a ghost or something that someone said the N-word. So it's like, it's frustrating that angle, because they need evidence. They need something concrete. And that's why the Monterey was so influential, because we actually had 3 witnesses to see the monkey gesture. So, but that's beyond the time. So I'm representing my player to a T. Unfortunately, like this one, again, like it was inconclusive evidence, insufficient voice hearings on the field. Ref didn't have a mic on him either. So, a bunch of hearsay things, gets put under the rug again too. But it's more onus. It's kind of just like, for me and the union, it's like, all right, cool, that's noted. You guys took that route, but we're going to remember it and baggage all. If something happens again, it's like, you remember this year, you remember this year, you remember this year. Y'all kept putting it under the rug. All right, finally, we need some concrete things in place now too.
So just for clarity, so you reach out to the player who's been racially abused first. Do you then talk to the person that
I do not talk to the one who abused. No.
Okay. So
that's usually in like this moment as well. The club, i.e. Pittsburgh, kept him very secluded even from the union. So they actually did things that the USL wasn't happy about, went on their own accord, had this boy even do like a lie detector test, and the USL told him to wait, did their own announcement, USL told him to wait. So it was a whole thing. But that's where the union comes in, because union represents both sides. They're the players first. So union will kind of have that conversation with him and our player. I focus on my player. I'm not saying I'm not going to support him, but right now my player's mentally going through it. My boy walked off the field in the middle of the game, and these things hurt our contracts and our whole representation of who we are as an athlete. And so now, thankfully, so the Hartford, we go to different clubs and then they're not going to want you because you're labeled X, Y, and Z player for walking off the field. But you're not understanding I got called racial slurs on the field, and this is what I'm doing to stand up and represent my people before I go crazy. And he was going to go, ape crap and hurt this player on the field. But he said, you know what, I'm going to walk off, keep my cool, because I know it's going to happen. He's a former MLS player, so he knows better than that. But what if he didn't? And so, yeah, man, that's where we kind of come in and just kind of keep the gas pedal on them for a bit.
That's great insight. Great question, Mike. That's a great insight. I did want to talk to you about BackYardFooty, now known as Backyard Entertainment. So you founded BackYardFooty in 2018 while still playing professionally. How did building something like off the field change the way you viewed the business side of soccer? Because I know you've already gotten a glimpse of that in your role at Monterey as the captain, but how did having your own thing influence you that way?
It's interesting. I will say, at the time, because how big social media is now, how big it is to have your own entity and all those things now. But at that time, it was more so like, so I was corporate-wise, I was part of the beautiful game network of the USL. Each USL team had their own podcast, and I was part of that network, so that helped me out corporate-wise. But at the time, I really just saw it as more of like a hobby, and I just wanted to show people behind the scenes of what we do. I didn't really see it. It was my company had an LLC and everything. But these last 2 years specifically, are more of like the sponsorships. I created my own charity foundation, 501c3, and I give food to the homeless kind of thing here in Charlotte. Started that in COVID. And so as I started those things and I got older, the corporate side came through. But in the beginning, 2017, 18, 19, probably up until COVID, it was more so a hobby, and that I'm just going to show you guys our lifestyle more than making this a big corporate thing until like that COVID moment happened. And someone also came up to me like, you want to start your own charity foundation. Long story short, George Floyd happened in Mount Arbery. I do the video. Not only did the videographer hit me up, an apparel company hits me up in Charlotte. It's like, yo, do you want to create Black Lives Matter t-shirts? I'm like, yeah, for sure. Got Charlotte Independence involved. We did a whole media thing for that. Then, if you buy a t-shirt, supporting the cause. I created a GoFundMe, giving all the funds to a charity organization here that affects the homeless. People hit me up like, yo, we don't just want to buy a t-shirt, we want to give you money too. And so that's why I started a GoFundMe. Found a lawyer here, like, yo, you want to make it official non-profit 501c3? I'm like, oh yeah, for sure. And so he blessed me with that paperwork too. And then from COVID on, we're actually a non-profit organization giving food out to the homeless to this day. And then that's why, fortunately, I partner with Food Line out here, partner with other organizations, and that's when like the corporate side really started to kick in after COVID.
And plug your charity again. What's the name of the charity?
Footy's Got You Foundation. Definitely check that out. Yep, it's I might have to change the name now, but definitely a derivative from BackYardFooty. But yeah, man, we've been giving food out to the homeless here in Charlotte since COVID. We gave food out. We did events out in Monterey. Unfortunately, couldn't do one last year. Funds just job transition at the time, but I'm definitely going to give back here. Probably go out to fly to Monterey myself. I raised money, did the same thing I did in Charlotte, same thing I did in Monterey. Basically, every goal, every shutout, every clean sheet, every assist, I'd raise money and have fans match me. Started that during COVID in Charlotte. Fortunate to raise like $3,000 in Monterey, and all that money went to some homeless charities and communities here in Monterey. And we did some food drive, clothes drives. Company then hit me up like, we want to give you a check and support you for your nonprofit. And so I partner with Enza Zeta in Monterey, and we give food out and clothes and do a whole charity event for the community out there too.
No, that's dope, man. Before I pass it to Cornelius, you do a lot of great things, man. I just wanted to tell you that, man. You do a lot of great things for a lot of different people. Obviously, your upbringing, as you shared with us, is very influential in why you are who you are, and why you represent yourself the way you do. And I think it's remarkable, man. I really do. Before I pass it to Cornelius, I just want to say, from the media standpoint, I feel like you're also going about it a different way. You were at the last TST tournament, and obviously, just following you, I felt as if I followed TST for the 3 years that it's been a thing, but this past season, following you, I felt like I got a different glimpse of it. I almost felt like I was there. Kind of walk us through like those moments, because I know you've also. I think you were the manager at that point. I don't think you were a player, but
Yep.
So kind of like walk us through like that and your experience there.
It's funny you even brought that up, because that's what I envision Backyard Entertainment. You watch something on TV or a live event, you go to your phone and you get exclusive behind the scenes access from me that you don't get a perspective on TV or wherever you're watching. Like, I'm glad you felt that, because that's what I want it to be. And that's at the time, I mean, literally, man. One thing I'll advise kids and people who are listening, man, and if you're ever going through some kind of funk, just keep going, and you got to take a leap of faith. So this is just finished my last year at Charlotte, 2024. Knew I was transitioning, had no job, $200 left in my account. I get invited to this event in Miami from Rahimovic. He had one of his Miami events. I'm telling my wife, girlfriend at the time, I've been sitting around applying for jobs since June, and I've had nothing. And I'm about to be out of a job. My last check's coming up in December, right? Like, I got to take this leap of faith and like, listen, maybe I'm sorry. Like, let me just go for 24, 36 hours and I'll be right back. Go to this event. Got someone homie in Miami. I'm just crashing on this couch. And I'm like, I got to do my thing out there. Funny stories. I don't even link up with Rahimovic for 2 days. I don't even see the man still. But I go there, and on the last day, man, I'm telling y'all, bro, oh, man, that's why I'm thankful. Like I said, just keep going. So I'll get to Miami. There's 2 events going on. I go to this first event. I miss this other event. I'm like, man, I'm right here by myself. I'm just going to go home, whatever. Reggae Rovers have their event at the same time. I go to Reggae Rovers first because, Jamaican connection, this and that. It's empty. Like, yo, you're here mad early. Rahimovic spot's a whole hour away. And I'm like, dang, at this point, I only got like $50 left. Yeah. I'm like, I gotta get out to this event. I'm itching literally in my mind. Literally said the event stops at 11. It's 10:30. It takes 30 minutes to get out there even. I'm like, do I take this $40 Uber with $10 left to get to this event, or do I just take the L and go home? All right, forget about it. I'm just gonna go take this $40. I'm gonna take this Uber. I get to this Uber. Like I said, I don't even meet Rahimovic, but guess who's there? Drip FC. They recognize me immediately, and they say, yo, Hugh, what's good? Boom, dap. Yo, we're hosting this Drip FC festival here in Charlotte, December. Pull up. All right, cool. Pull up, give me full access, do our thing, interview-wise behind the scenes. They're like, you know what? We want you to be a part of the whole Drip FC process from January all the way up to TST. We want you to be a part of the team. We want you to be the face of media. I'm like, y'all sure? Like, giving you that's why y'all saw me on the camera and doing that stuff for Drip. It was like, it wasn't really me. They were telling me they want me to be in front of it. So I'm like, all right, cool. And I'm using my experience to help these guys out. Young kids doing their thing, man. I'm so proud of my boys. So I was a part of them. I was really just a part of that media team at first. But because they only had one head coach, I became the assistant coach and media. And then, yeah, man, I'm on the sidelines on my phone, recording videos at the same time, telling subs to go in, doing tactics, recording on my phone. Games done, I'm hopping over on my phone. Everything was just on my phone. And then we also have videographers there too. So some of the cinematic stuff, I'm like, yo, the videographer, yo, come here, let me get your mic. Let's do it on your nice video camera quality. But yeah, man, that was my goal, is to make people feel like the intensity of what we really run through on the field. And thankfully, Drip FC had like the greatest run of their time. Went to the Elite 8, I believe, too, and lost to the champions too. So it was a good run for them boys too, and it's a good experience to be a part of.
No, that's love, man. Shout out to Drip SC, Isaiah, and all them guys, man. Yeah, we're looking forward to it, man. This summer is going to be fun. It's only growing, and definitely look forward to linking up with you then too. You're playing this year, right? Can you say that much?
Playing this year, yes, sir.
Okay, all right. Say less.
That's what's up, man. It's bro, it's super interesting. I know Gabriel said it, Mike said it, Salam said it, but your experiences really have molded you, into the guy that you are from young. And it's very interesting to hear your life story in the past couple of years, because you alluded to it earlier that you were looking for jobs and you didn't get any job, and you were kind of in this purgatory area, but you ultimately get the job back in October of 25. But kind of explain what that time period was like for you before ultimately landing that job.
I will say, a bunch of Uber driving, Uber Eats, individual coaching. I wasn't like part of a club organization, just, one-on-one training, kind of on that Coach Up app, finding some kids to coach kind of thing too. But I would definitely say, man, like that's where having a goal is so important, right? Like, being able to have backyard footy at the time was my bread and butter. Like if I didn't have that, I probably wouldn't even be here today, because that woke me up every day. And it was like, all right, I'm struggling, sure, not finding a job, but I got my own business and my own brand I got to represent still, and I got to push that. So I got to get myself up. I actually got my own wife, and she's pregnant. I can't be sitting on the couch no more. And that's also who I am. But I also have goals of like same thing I told you, helping my black people out. You touching it, I don't even think I answered your questions. I forget who asked this, but I'm not even trying to be a coach. I'm trying to be a general manager, sporting director. This is why I'm going this route as well too. I don't even have any coaching licenses, because I've seen us black coaches on short leashes. I see how it's literally just like an athlete. We get fired each and every day. So I want to be someone in the front office to bring my black people up, bring my coach, bring my assistants, bring my staff, technical, whatever I got to do, but get me in there so I can build a foundation for years and do, run some things for years. So I was just say though, yeah, but that's what I was saying. Just having a goal and motivation woke me up every morning. So it's actually, I still do this to this day, but I'm getting up at like 5, 6 o'clock in the morning every morning. Of course, to get out there, Uber ride and do my job. But I was actually going to the gym at 5 o'clock every morning just to get myself up before I hit the road. But those little things just kept me mentally strong. Like, all right, I'm going through some BS, but like let's just keep going, man. Like drip at that time was definitely another saving grace, because again, I'm meeting with them. We're meeting once a week. I'm doing them videos. I'm also like, all right, I'm going to be part of Drip FC in June. Like, make sure my brand's cool. So like in the midst of the struggle, I also have some things that are motivating me in between then. So it kept me going. As also, I'm a faithful dude too. I'm seeing certain signs as I'm going as well too. God, some of those Uber riders were just, I would say, angels for me at those times, just telling me to keep going, telling me, them jobs are coming. I met some good people I'm still in contact with to this day on those Uber rides as well too, that, definitely kept me going. 10 months is a long ass time, man. I cannot tell you how long that was. I literally, I wouldn't say wasted the whole year, but my schedule was 5 o'clock in the morning to 10 o'clock, took a gap to take my dog out from 11 to 2. I'm on the road from 3 to 8 p.m. every single day, all day over the summer. So I couldn't even hang out and do nothing with my wife over the summer too. So I would feel like, I'm wasting time and like my energy, like, what am I doing? Frustrated things. But like, if you can just, push through that and just know, like, I just knew it had to happen. There ain't no way at some point I had to get some job. You know what I mean? Like, I have to just shake these things up. Like, there's no way this is going to happen forever, no matter how long it took. And it took a long ass time, but I was like, it can't be, 10, 20 years. Like, it's bound to happen. It's bound to happen. It's going to happen. I told myself that every month too. And it took 10 months, but finally something shook. And Foundation just hit me up randomly. I woke up one day, boom, Foundation's like, we would love to have you for an interview in July 20-something. 3 weeks later, middle of August, first interview. Don't hear back from them for another 2 weeks. Okay, cool. You're approved for the next round. It took 3 rounds. 3 rounds took from August all the way until end of September. Around my birthday, I'm September 27th. So that's literally, it was actually one of the best birthdays I had when I just got the offer from the foundation. Knew I was transitioning, finally could stop Uber driving, man, get me off that road. Like, man, it was finally a saving grace too. But all those things I will say though, man, like, you really have to go through those times though, for real. Like, if you're really serious about this life and really making it out and getting to the next round, like, you gotta realize God makes you sit still and he puts you in them environments to build you up. And so, frustrated as I was, I'm listening to my sermons every time in my mornings. We found a church out here. I'm driven and I'm motivated. He's shown me different signs. Like, he's got me, but I gotta stay faithful as well too. And like, from now on, the rest of my life, I'm like, God, put me through whatever. I know you got me because of what we just went through for the last year, and I know it was crazy, but you just really. And you also have to speak things to existence. I asked for a job that's remote. I asked for a job with a good, 401k. insurance for my wife and my daughter coming up. All these little details literally fell into its place as well too, and that's why I thank God every day for them little things as well too, man. So yeah, man, I was definitely in ground with all that.
No, that's definitely a blessing just to hear how everything came to be, and it's definitely inspiring too. You were working odd jobs, you were doing what you could to make ends meet, and like you said, and like we say on the podcast here all the time, man, you never know who's watching. For you, it was kind of just out of the blue, but who knows who was looking at what you're doing from your time in the USL all the way up to the time where you got that phone call. So it's honestly just a blessing and amazing to hear how everything came together. So in your role with the foundation, what does your day-to-day look like? What are your main to-dos as you wake up every morning and you head into work, or you put on a hoodie since you're working from home, it sounds like?
No, seriously, man, I gotta tell myself I gotta change outfits, and I can't be on camera with the same outfits every day. So I gotta put on the same stuff. But I would say, right, the biggest thing is to give our free educational resources to organizations, and that's why I'm I wouldn't say cold calling, but reaching out to people that I know, my contacts, my resources. One of the biggest things. I've been fortunate to have a good bit of contacts through the USL. So I've been able to connect with. We just did one in Detroit City FC, did one here with Charlotte Independence, our free coach mentorship training. Did one with the Richmond Kickers, my first club. I drove up, spoke to my whole organization, which was a blessing. About to do one with the Sacramento Republic. We're honestly trying to form a national partnership with the USL headquarters because, again, I had these contacts through the racial moments. So now here I am corporately going through my old emails, be like, yo, bro, what's going on? Is this Hugh with the foundation now? Talk to me. Thankfully, also, no matter how frustrated I was, I never burnt a bridge, and I just kept cool. And if I was frustrated, I would voice my frustrations to my wife or my parents, but I never talked to a lot of my teammates or my coach about this stuff because I knew the value of your word and who you are goes such a long way. And so no matter what, I was very, 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 very frustrated every year, but I kept it internally to myself and just voiced that in a different way outside of my organization, so no one really knows. So now I'm in the corporate side. Everyone's like, yo, guys that turned me down, right? This and that in the offseason. Now want to hit me up like, yo, Hugh, what's going on? Let's work. Let's do this. Man, it's all a business. It's all a game at the end of the day. It's no hard feeling, you know what I'm saying? So that's my main job. And then secondly, I'm doing like a lot of admin and systematic stuff. So like say a partner gives us their finances from their camps and their seasons, the checks that they're paying coaches, the expenses that they have to do for equipment and stuff. I'll go into our system and input that or disperse our partners' money based on the agreement that we, set in place for them as well too. I also have to, lead some of these educational sermons. So when I went to Charlotte Independence, I actually led the whole educational service for them too. So sometimes, like probably in Louisville, I'm doing one with the whole Charlotte Mecklenburg school district here in Charlotte, leading our after-school program educational sermon too. So you have to, educate yourself on those things and then be confident enough to step into that role and educate on the foundation's behalf. But thankfully, a lot of this stuff, not a lot of it, but half of it is actually natural to me because I'm an athlete and I've been doing a lot of this corporate stuff as an athlete. So it's just more so understanding, certain nuances and verbiage like, our agreement is X, X, and X. We only do our league in Miami, Atlanta, or LA. We only do coach mentorship for this, this, and this. So after understanding that, learning that we use Salesforce a lot. So understanding, creating new organizations in Salesforce, just inputting stuff and where stuff is systematic wise. That's like majority of my day to day and just checking up on partners and stuff too. So it's really on me to also, yes, there's some day-to-day tasks, but it's not also like, oh, Hugh, here's your weekly task for this week. Nah, it's more so I have to go find my own task and do my own things and, create my own mentorship programs too with organizations too.
We have some rapid fire questions coming up with Salam, but my last question for you, what has been your favorite moment so far of your career?
Like just my playing career, right?
Playing and post playing, pick any moment.
That's a good question, man.
You've accomplished a lot, so
Exactly.
I would say a top moment for me that it's like moments was like the 2021 season with Charlotte Independence. We had Christian Fuchs, who just won at Leicester City in the EPL when Leicester City was the captain of the team. He played with me as my left center back, out middle center back. Had Gabriel Overton from Manchester United come play with us. Sylvain Marveau just played with League One with like one of the French clubs. So like when I say that roster was insane, that was especially those last 2 months to play ball, man. Fuchs taught me so much. Like, I was a good center back before, for sure. I analyzed myself a lot. But Fuchs, because he was a left back turned left center back, so he's very calm. It's the USL compared to the EPL. That boy plays, no matter how tough a situation he is, he's going to force it, and it's not his fault. It's your fault for having a crap touch, and you better be able to handle it. Guy could be pressuring left and right. Doesn't matter. He's calm, not even moving, playing. So I was like, he can do that. I can do that too. So that really upped my game for sure, because I'm playing crazy passes that to this day really upped my game. So that was a cool time. And I would definitely just say second to that is just definitely joining the foundation. I would say it's just a moment, a catalyst to everything I was doing off the field as an athlete. And, just get my MBA. And I wanted to be in an organization that worked with soccer. I would just say literally what we're doing right now is literally everything I wanted as well in terms of transitioning to it. Just took some time, but to actually be in a part of a soccer organization, to actually affect change, be one of the few black men in this position as well too. This is what I've wanted to do off the field since I've been probably early on in my career. Just seeing what I wanted to do early on is great to kind of see things coming to fruition with that light too.
That's dope.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. That's pretty dope. You've had such a great career, so I was curious to see which moment, if you were to look back, was going to be that moment that stood out to you.
I appreciate
Thank you for sharing. Appreciate it.
Got real overtime, man. If you don't know, if you know, you know. My God,
right.
He was a dog. First question, man. Going into rapid fire, I wanted to ask you from one father to another, man. Talk to us a little bit about fatherhood, man. How it's a big thing, parenthood, not just fatherhood, but just parenthood, being a parent. How has parenthood been for you so far?
Life-changing is the word, man. Like I'm still amazed every day seeing my baby girl. I can't believe me and my wife, produced this thing. We have a whole child that we have to provide for too. But it's been beautiful. She's at the point now where she's smiling almost every morning. The emotions starting to come through, man, and it just gives you more motivation. I was a motivated person before, but man, when I say my motivation is up, like I'm barely even sleeping just because I gotta do what I gotta do. I'm gonna lose sleep. I'll catch up on sleep when I'm older, kind of thing right now too. So it's more so also fueling me. I'm treating like the corporate side like I was like an athlete, waking up early, getting the work done, staying extra time after training, staying extra time after work, making sure I'm taking it very serious, every single email, who I'm partnering with and that kind of thing, because at the end of the day, I want to rise up the foundations ladder too, and also provide more for my daughter too, and make sure she's secure and has a good life that, I was fortunate to have in my end too. So yeah, man, it unlocked a whole nother level of motivation that I didn't even know. And honestly, even like the protective instincts too, because of course, we're protective of our people, but a daughter too, boy, I ain't even playing around. So we in kickboxing karate classes next year.
Yeah, bro. I hear you, bro. I hear you. Now that's love, man. I love asking, especially black men, man. I love asking people, especially people who are, first-time parents for the first time, just kind of like what it's like, because it's hard. These guys know me before I had kids, and like me and now, it's just
two different people.
I don't know. Trust me, man. I'm barely even on my phone past 7 o'clock because that's bedtime, and I gotta get this girl down to a T first.
Yeah, respect, bro. I feel that.
So I do want to. I know this wasn't one of the rapid fires, but I do want to ask this. What's one, or maybe a couple, what are one or a few of the skills that you've carried from young through your parents, through the way you were raised, having that struggle as a youth, what are one or two of the key characteristics or things that you took from that point that have propelled you not only playing wise, but also into your advocacy,
like aside from the determination, all that, I would say being humble is one of the biggest things for me. Being humble in terms of you can learn from everybody. I'm an older 11-year-old vet, and I'm listening to rookies because they can see something on the bench that I couldn't listen to. You have to be humble enough to listen, or you can be prideful and not listen, and you get burned on the field. But I'm like, I can listen and learn from everybody. I was also in that humble kind of realm, just cool with almost everybody at school as well too. I wanted to make sure I knew everybody. It's more so like I feel like I connect with everybody. I'm playing video games, and Like I knew I could, play video games with nerdiest boy. I'm playing Super Smash Bros. I'm playing all these games with them boys, and I'm playing FIFA with my other boys, my basketball world too. So, being humble, being able to connect with everybody was a big thing for me as well too. And also just having like an open mind. Open mind, helped me transition into a new role. It was definitely tough, but when you transition, I played every single position on the field besides actually played goalkeeper even in state cup. But even in college, like I played right back, I played left back, I played the 6 some in college too because I wanted to play in the field. And if I didn't have an open mind, I probably would have cut a lot of my chances. But because I was willing to adapt and change, that's who I am too. And I'll even just share my life motto. My life motto is never panic, just adjust. And that's just stuck with me to my whole entire life because you're getting thrown in a whole bunch of situations that honestly, even the corporate side, right? I didn't know really much into this stuff too, but I'm not going to be someone to shy away from it. I'm like, all right, I'm going to just adjust in the fly and go as we go and take it day by day. And whatever happens. And I learn as I go as well too. So those things definitely are like the foundation for me. And I see things, how it transpired to this day with that.
I just want to say that open-mindedness comment is so underrated. The way I feel like, the world is just so close-minded. Definitely a very underrated characteristic. So I definitely appreciate that tidbit.
I appreciate you.
Absolutely, man. Let's get into this. To start off, what's on your playlist, man? Game day playlist. What do you listening to? I know you're Jamaican, so
yeah,
cartel, you feel me?
I ain't gonna hold y'all, man, because I'm on y'all show, bro. I'm really heavy into like some of that New York drill a little bit too. I ain't gonna lie about that. My family listens to that a little bit. I'm really on like the hottest waves at the time. Like I'm really the Conway, Benny the Butcher wave heavy too. I love the Griselda gang for sure. They're my boys. While they dropped the album, you know what I mean? You feel me? All that. Anytime anyone drops a single album, is downloaded immediately. It's on that. Yeah, come on.
Pray for parents.
We need that stove god, man.
Yeah, all that. Dave East is heavy on there too. So yeah, those rotations are good ones for me too, definitely.
I feel you, man. I'm trying to get back on my music. I don't know what it is, man. I think ever since I don't know if since I graduated college or just when I had my daughter, I just have gotten out of music, man. These guys keep me, up to date.
I'm telling you, you've been listening to, the Miss Rachel songs, the hey,
yeah, man. I'm
I ain't gonna hold you. Is that Rachel's the black girl, right?
No, there's another.
That's Gracie.
Listen, Gracie's.
She got some bangers.
I just put me on to that earlier this week. I'm mad. I don't have that when we were growing up. Come on.
Yeah.
Everybody wanted the hip hop song with alphabets and number. Like, oh man.
Yeah.
For baby girl before she goes to bed. Gracie's Corner's on. We dancing to all that.
The phonics song. Shout out to the phonics song. Yeah, No, that's cool. That's some real stuff though. That's because representation matters, especially for young kids. Like to have someone like that, like a black, you know what I'm saying? We had what was bruh Reading Rainbow. That's
I know.
Yeah, man. Hobbies outside of soccer.
Hobbies outside of soccer, definitely the gym. Definitely walks with the family. I got a Doberman, so I'm active with him almost every day. Basketball, I picked that back up last year too. I haven't done it since the snowstorms here, but I was in the Y heavy. Definitely getting back to the basketball world, up my joy and just on life in general. And I say a random hobby I really started enjoying was pickleball, man. I'm really one of the homies out here. Teammate Noah Pilato is nice. We used to play tennis. And I'm good at ping pong, but ping pong is, derivative of pickleball as well too, but it's just a little more movement. And so the last 4 or 5 months, man, I've been taking that real serious. And that thing's no joke. It's a proper workout, man. So that's like actually one of my big hobbies right now, pickleball, man.
Yeah, we've been thinking about joining the league actually.
See,
I'm telling you, bro. It's really once you get like the backhand, forehand, some of those slices in, like we're athletic. We're gonna get them boys.
Okay.
And it's not easy too. I know the court is smaller than a tennis court, but it's not.
Listen, you find someone who's nice, you're gonna be running just as much as a tennis court. Because I'd be winded, church drenched. I'm like, damn, this boy is killing me. You run my stuff up.
I feel like that's one of America's fastest growing sports. Like I didn't even really know. I feel like 3-4 years ago, like pickleball wasn't on the forefront. And now a lot of cities
yeah.
I go, like even in Cleveland, there are more pickleball courts everywhere. Like it's just that sport's blown
we
up.
just got one next to us, actually.
I
I mean, everybody can play. That's why. That's
Right,
the
right.
reason why. Yeah.
Right.
We got let's do favorite pair of boots or cleats to play in.
Love the Predators, the Beckham ones back in the day too, man. Those are the top ones. I was actually a big Puma King guy. Monterey is sponsored by Puma. We gave us some Puma, but I was always Puma in the beginning too. My pops, Puma was heavy in the Caribbean culture too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So Puma
Caribbean, African. Yep.
You feel me? I actually played football, American football one year, and I wore my Puma cleats all season. That's how much we were into Puma kind of thing. But Puma is actually a top one for me too. And when I played striker, I was heavy on the Vapors for Nike too. But I would definitely say, I know it's not a thing, but the different positions is different boots for sure. Yeah. You can wear Vapors, of course, as center back, but in terms of hitting the long ball for sure, and that's the thing. Like, that's why you got to wear different boots, because the hitting and the sound and the contact is completely different for your position too, and those things matter.
Yeah. If you're a center back and if you're wearing like the Mercurials, you're dangerous.
He's shooting from half field.
Yeah, keep an eye. Toughest attacker you went up against?
Toughest attacker I went up against. I would say Dane Kelly. Got to give him props to all-time USL goal scorer. Give him props with that. But I would say there's actually two. Matt Fondy played in MLS a little bit, played for Louisville City. I was young at the time, my second year in the league, and it was my first time going against an MLS forward, and he definitely up my IQ. CJ Sapong's up there too from Philly. We battled, we were on the same organization. CJ. We battled all the time, every day in practice and training and stuff, and he was definitely someone that, again, upped my IQ because I'm going against tougher challenges as well. And lastly, we used to play in Richmond Premier League teams. So we played Crystal Palace, played West Brom, played one more, Swansea as well too. And I played against Shamrock too. And Shamrock was definitely probably my toughest from Arsenal.
Wow, Shamrock.
Yeah, man. That was a good one for me too. I actually did a little shout out to him last year. Did a little clip of when we played against each other last year. Brought back the old film on that too, man.
Yep.
I mean, let's talk about him.
Briefly, like, what's it like playing? Like, can you explain just like the difference of someone who, I guess, come over like from Europe? Like, what's the biggest difference?
It's the IQ. Like a lot of, let's say, American strikers, we love like the physicality, the battle to battle, shoulder to shoulder. Those are the games where like the striker disappears almost for a center back. Like I have to check my shoulders and like figure out where this guy is now. He's no longer posting up on me because he doesn't want the physical battles. He doesn't need to do the physical battles. He's now more, let's say the ball's to my left, he's withdrawn behind me because he doesn't want to battle between both center backs. He's going to find the space, knowing that he's going to get a great ball. So not necessarily that he has to be in the middle. The ball is going to find him. So now I have to adapt myself and reposition my body to find these guys too, and find the pockets, checking into the pockets. And sure, like, it can get predictable, striker checks in, I follow behind him, it should be a no-brainer, but these guys are drifting off to a point where he might drift off in between the right back and center back. So if I go follow him, now there's a big gap behind me, and like I just, I'm not disciplined enough to stay in my position too. So those guys really up it with their mental side. It's not really more so, like they say, what's the saying? Work smarter, not harder. So those guys really, really think about the game more than just running. Like we love our athleticism here in this country too. So those things definitely separate them.
Okay.
I wanted to ask this. What's your favorite pregame meal? Because I've gone back and forth. Usually for me, some African. I always love an African meal. But I've been having some like new pregame meals that I've been trying out that like, I don't know, during the match, I'll be feeling good, So I just want to tap in. I was roommates with a lot of Jamaicans when I was in college, and their pregame meals, a lot of curry, dumplings and such. So I just want to know, what's your favorite pregame meal?
Well, pregame for me starts like the night before, honestly, and pregame would be probably like pasta, or I'm actually pescatarian now, I only eat seafood, but back then I used to do chicken too, a good bit, just like a simple chicken breast or something. But actually on game day, I actually eat mad light. I can't eat heavy. I learned that the hard way when I was in state cup finals in 7th grade. My mom makes French toast, and I eat almost 20 pieces of French toast, and I'm there having cramps. On my state cup final, we lose to Casimir Bays in overtime, and I can't even be on the man. Trust me, I was in tears. But not just because of then. Actually, when I turned pro, and one of the reasons why I'm pescatarian is because I would get bloated, and I'm lactose intolerant too. So anything I ate that wasn't cooked properly, had lactate in it, I was actually on the toilet a lot, or on game days, or I'd feel bloated 20 minutes into kickoff. So I was like, I'm gonna stop all that and change, then go to pescatarian. But for game day, for me, man, like breakfast would be maybe a bacon, egg, and cheese sandwich with some eggs for breakfast, and then really it's mad light. Like I'd rather feel a little hungry going into the game and then be starving after than being heavy and bloated going into the game. And I'm just eating maybe like, for me, it'd be like a fish, rice, and a little nice small piece of fish, rice, and veggies. Boom, to hold me off 2 hours before, probably 4:30. The game's at 7, 4:30. 5 o'clock max. I gotta be in the locker room by 5:15, so like 4:30. I feel nice and like content, not heavy, not in. So I'm nice and light, feeling energetic. Then of course when the game's done, I'm starving. But I learned the hard way through like my first 3 years in Richmond as a pro. I would eat mad heavy the night before, and I actually would eat heavier like on game day, and I would be very slow and groggy, like even into kickoff 20 minutes in. So I took the lighter approach too, and just like doubled down after the game kind of thing.
That's interesting, man, because I'm the same way. I definitely like carb load the night before, but then come game day, I'm definitely a 4 hours before the match, like heavy meal. Like I probably won't eat a lot that day. I'll maybe have something small for breakfast, but then 4 hours before, best believe cassava leaf, big bowl of rice, and honestly, by game time, it's usually all out of my system, and I just feel like the energy from it. So no, it's just interesting. I always like to get people's pregame like kind of meals. It's interesting here.
That's great insight, because I definitely wouldn't have turned down the French toast. I'm not gonna
right. I'm telling y'all, man. I'm actually no syrup on game day. I can't even touch syrup, man. Because killing it.
That's why I ain't make it. But let's do one game you could relive.
One game I could relive was Louisville City that same year with Charlotte Independence. We lost in the semifinals in the 89th minute on the most BS PK of my life. Right back, slipping on the ground, and you're allowed to catch your balance, and that's the balance hand. Guy chops in, it touches the arm that's balanced, and the other arm's up, calls a PK. We lose in the 90th minute. We were dominating that game, killing them boys, and that's probably what would have been the farthest run I've been in my career as well, too. Would love to relive that game, definitely, as well. One other game I'd relive, too, was Monterey in Orange County. We can talk about the season another time, but let's say we started off in 2nd. I got injured for a month, dropped down to 7th, come back. We go all the way up to 3rd. Orange County at halftime, we're up 1-0. Coaches come up to me, and I didn't think they were taking this so serious, but they're like, hey, Hugh, if we're up 1-0 in the last 15 minutes, we're actually thinking about switching from a 5 back to a 4, taking a defender off and putting a midfielder on. And at the time, I'm like, why would we on the road take a defender off and put an attacker on? But whatever, these are the coaches. They're not actually going to do this, right? Like, they wouldn't think about we're on the road, hurt our win streak. Get into the game. We're up 1-0, 15 minutes left. Take a defender off, put a midfielder on. I'm not saying that's the only reason. Of course, it's a team game, but then that opened up everything. We lost 2-1, and then from then on, we go on a 5-game losing streak, and then the whole locker room goes into crap and turmoil, and then I have to do a bunch of things to save us. And then by that time, we were 1 point away from playoffs, and we ended up losing in San Diego and getting knocked out of playoffs by literally one game. But I'm not saying it was that game, but those little moments just define things. And I wish I would have just said, Coach, just don't do it, please. We're good. Stay in the 5, no matter what, Coach. And they would have listened to me. I told y'all my relationship to them, but I just thought it wouldn't happen. And like just my thought process I explained here, we're up on the road with a 5. Like, wow, but everything happens for a reason. Honestly, everything really does happen for a reason. I really see it now too.
Okay. If you could create a 5-a-side of your all-time teammates that you've played with, who's going to make your team? You're the coach of this team. So you need 1 goalkeeper, 4 field players.
Goalkeeper is going to be my guy. Oh, man. Joe Willis out in Nashville, starting goalkeeper. He was my goalkeeper out Richmond Kickers. another keeper that upped my quality as well. He was very good with his feet. I trusted him and helped me out. Gotta go with Fuchs as one of the left defenders. Then I'll go with the homie Alex Lee, played at Maryland, Guam national team member, probably one of the best right backs I played a part of as well. Midfield, I'm gonna have Kevon George, Trinidad national team, played with me in Charlotte Independence. Definitely rock solid Trinidadian. Yes, my guy. That's 2, 3. That's 4 with the keeper.
Yeah.
And then dang. All right. We got to backtrack a little bit. Sorry, my guy. We go Joe, Fuchs, Kevon, Gabriel Oberton's on there for me in 4. And then I gotta go Sylvain Marveau, the French League One player. That guy was definitely one of the most calmest. Like I was very fortunate to be in these guys with good quality, but I never saw quality like this, and I understand why Europe is so far ahead in the American game. When I say these guys did not care if there's 3 or 4 players around them in the pocket, they're telling me to play them the ball. Give it to me. And if I can't find them, that's on them. And so that gave me more confidence to just ping the balls in, break the lines, drill it and just do whatever. And I wouldn't get any slack for it too. And it's important too to experience that at some point as well. So those European guys have to be thrown in there for me.
Yeah. Sylvain Marveau, bro, that guy, he was something. I'll send you guys a Marveau compilation tonight.
Marveau, man. Streets won't forget.
Yeah, bro. No, definitely. My last question for you, bro. If you could go back and give your younger self advice when you're starting this soccer journey, what would you tell yourself?
I'll tell myself to stay patient for sure. Definitely a lot of my frustrations was because of I just wasn't patient, frustrations where I thought I should have got X amount of opportunity or so and so. I thought I should be in certain places. Like a lot of things will align to its place. Just because the patience, when you're impatient, also speaks to like your frustrations, your anger, the emotions rise, and all those little things. My dad would tell me all the time, Hugh, don't worry. All the Jamaican sayings all the time. But I'm like, this guy, I was definitely like an American kid with a Jamaican pops for sure, because I got my mom's Queens, New York. I'm playing basketball. Of course, I got my Jamaican pops. So he's telling me Jamaican sayings. I'm like, all right, pops, I hear you. Mom's telling me this. So I'm like, I really feel like as I'm older, I'm really him more and more. And I really, really see how important it is to just slow down and take your time. And I really, not saying I didn't take my time, but I rushed because I wanted to get to college so quick. I want to be a pro so fast. But you'll get there, man. Just take your time and go through the process more and take care of the little things. I really wish, as much as I took it very serious as a pro, I used to show up in Charlotte. I did this because I was very frustrated with myself, and it was my contract year. So after 2020, I used to show up an hour before practice, and I did that for the last 5 years of my practice. To this day, I show up an hour before practice with my coach one-on-one. Then I stay in after practice, just work on more center back stuff, and that's literally how I got better as a center back. But I wish I also did that when I was younger, but I was so focused on basketball, and I was just like, all right, whatever. I'm gonna enjoy my youth. I'm just trying to get to a place. Who cares about it? It's not that serious. All right, let me just get to the next tournament. I just want to showcase myself, but enjoy each and every day. Take the process, grind, make sure you're better, and take care of yourself in little ways. And then when the opportunity comes, you'll be even better and ready for that moment. So I'm not saying I wasn't ready and I was ready, but I could have been more prepared in certain moments too if I took it just a little bit more serious as well and was a little bit more patient and calm.
That's great advice. Great advice. Fellas, you guys got anything before we close out?
Just thank you for coming on. Appreciate your time.
Not my guys. Appreciate y'all having me, man. It's a pleasure. And really enjoy this show, man. Y'all keep doing good stuff. We need more podcasts like this.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
We appreciate it, bro. We appreciate it, man. I wrote 2 things down, man, because I felt like this is the 2 biggest things that I got from this conversation with you. The first thing that I wrote down was take the leap of faith. And then the second thing that I have here is stay the course, which, I'm very fortunate that we obviously linked at the coaches conference. I guess that was us, the 4 of us, taking that leap of faith and kind of doing something that was outside of, just this studio, this virtual studio that we're in right now. But I mean, it's really good to, to learn more about you and your story, man. You definitely have a unique one, to share. And, like I said earlier, man, you represent a lot of good things for a lot of people who look like us. So, I'm just appreciative of your time, man, and just thank you for this conversation.
Appreciate y'all more than y'all know as well, man. Thank y'all for having me too. Keep inspiring the next generation like this. We need more combos like this.
Always, man.
Yes, sir, man. As always, we appreciate everybody's continued support on the Kickback FC. Till next time, peace.